Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday service of Now Creations. Just a pleasure to be with you here this morning. In one sense, there's nothing else to do except just to be in the beauty of the awareness that we have within ourselves, in that flow of love, and the goodness that that flow of love inspires us to extend. Just nice to be with you. I hope also that you enjoyed our kindness month for the month of April. The goal obviously was not just to be kind one day, but to establish kindness as your pattern of life, the way you now operate within the world. So many of us are so much more loving and kind. May it be the consistency of our lives. And I'd also like to invite all of you to our program this evening on topical conversations on Gnosticism, the way Christianity was meant to be. If you think you'll find it extremely enjoyable, just go to our website, click on study groups, and scroll down to topical conversations, 6 to 7:30 p.m. Let's begin. My dear friends, it continues to be a great joy simply to greet you in these weekly teachings. Many of you commented on last week's teaching of U.S. Anderson's book, 3 Magic Words. The 3 magic words being, you are God. Especially you seem to appreciate the subtitle, how we explain how it is the key to power, peace, and plenty. What I would like to do in today's teaching and next week's teaching is to focus on what preceded the understanding that we are of God, and then to focus in the future on the fruits of being of God. First, what preceded our experience. The title today, again, is Congratulations, You Won. Congratulations, you won. You might want to take some notes. And I consider this to be maybe the most profound teaching up to now. Something that we need to understand and to digest. And of course, always see it as something very positive, moving us forward. Let's begin. Every once in a while, you get a notice saying, congratulations, you've won. It usually has to do with a vacation or maybe a big ticket item, which will try to draw you into buying something more. And yet, there is a game. There is a game that we have been playing for lifetimes that warrants the phrase, congratulations, you won. What I'm about to share with you is a way of understanding our past, not just in this lifetime, but in many lifetimes. And now, obviously, the present lifetime and how we might proceed into the future. Please listen to this presentation a few times. Ponder it deeply. Let it sink into you. It is my attempt at making sense of the rough times that many of us have had in our lives and still in which many of us are immersed. The game that we have played is the game of separation. The game of separation. This game of separation entailed the diminishing of our inner light, our soul light, and allowing the lower energies of fear and doubt, guilt and shame to unduly affect us. Let me just say that again. This game of separation that we played for lifetimes has been a result of the dimming of our own light and allowing the lower energies of fear and doubt, shame and guilt to come into our lives. Let's be clear. This teaching is that we basically freely dimmed our own lights. Nobody forced us to do this. We dimmed our own life. The reason being is we wanted to have the experience of separation. We wanted to have the experience of separation. We wanted to feel that we were separate from our God Spirit. Why did we do this? Because we could. And we freely accepted the responsibility of separation for eons. That's why the title of today's teaching is Congratulations, you won. You won the game of separation. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You might be saying, are you saying that my recent lifetimes were a game of separation? What game? I didn't even know I was playing a game. Well, that's why the game was so convincing. That's why the game was so convincing. You didn't even know you were playing it. You thought that being a human being was just, well, a limitation that everyone is born with. You thought the feelings of fear and doubt were just natural conditions of everyone's life. And you made up a whole list of sayings to fuel the game, such as, I'm only human. Nobody is perfect. Life is not meant to be a bed of roses. Who do you think you are, God? And more even than these things, you constructed hiding places, 2 of them, wherein you could pretend that you were only human. What do you mean by hiding places, you might be asking? Well, the first hiding place, the place where you hid, was thinking that you were only a human body, that everything pretty much revolved around your body, how you as a body were doing. You gave this body a fancy name by calling it your personality. And the gauge of your success was how your personality was doing in the world. In fact, the world then became your second hiding place. In fact, your body and the world became hiding places where you seemed to not understand who you really were as the God Spirit. The body and the world became the gauge of how successful you were. Isn't that true? They became your identities, this personality self and this worldly self. They took over the identity of your soul self, your bodily self and your personality self, your worldly self. They took over the identity of your soul self. At best, the soul, in a sense, even had its light made dimmer, recalled only in extreme cases, such as illness and death, and then you kind of remember there was something more, or maybe in an event such as the birth of a baby, or some of great achievement. But for the most part, your personality self and your worldly self became you. You hid in them. You thought they were you. And then you also decided upon a very, very convincing set of rules that ensured that you would never end the game. The set of rules was called duality, especially of duality in the lower energies of the third dimension. This is how duality worked in the third dimension, where you were hiding in your personality self and your worldly self. Essentially, what duality says is that everything has its opposite, from happy relationships to sad relationships. Haven't you had those? From good jobs to not so good jobs. We've had those. From abundance to struggling. Oh my gosh. Eventually, you would become dissatisfied with a downturn of fortune. And then you would say to yourself, in duality, following its rules, well, the next relationship will be better. The next job will be much better. And eventually, I won't have to struggle in the future. And then you dutifully proceeded to the next relationship, to the next job, the next hope for abundance, only to be disappointed again by that opposite. Well, and then you would try again, and again, and again, until you just wore out. And you simply settled for less than what you desired. And then you would pass from one lifetime to another lifetime, caught in duality, in the game of separation. Even when you were successful for the moment in your relationships or in your job or in your abundance, duality had another card to play. It was called competition, comparing yourself to another. Even when you seem to be winning in your life, there is always someone who seemed to be richer, smarter, prettier, happier. All of these experiences of never being fully satisfied, always looking for more in life. In a nutshell, feeling lousy. All of these experiences of not being the way you wanted to be were indicators that you were winning the game. Congratulations, you were winning the game of separation, even when you didn't know you were playing it. How convincing is that? No matter what was happening, it was never satisfying. Sometimes felt lousy. You were winning the game of feeling separated. But at a certain moment, you begin to say to yourself, no, wait a minute. I don't like this lousy feeling. I don't like the fact that I never seem to be really happy. Isn't there another way to play this game of life? And then two things began to happen. First, you remembered something. And then you had another stumbling block. The next card that the game of separation played, which was very, very, very powerful. Let me explain. First, you remembered something. Over the years, you eventually remembered that you had dimmed your own light. You freely came to recognize I dimmed my own light. And then you logically thought, because you dimmed your own light, well, you could raise your own light again. You were becoming spiritual. You were pursuing a direction of spirituality. Oh, it took many years, many, many, many years to raise this light of yours. And this is how you did it. You realized that you had fallen into the trap of separation that many before you and many with you right now have fallen into. The trap was that in the game of separation, listen closely, the trap was that you began to create with your own energies, your own ideas, your own thoughts, and you liked it for a while. You became, in a sense, very self-centered. You became very self-centered, always trying to figure something out in your best interest, even when you were nice. It was still about you. You had forgotten. You had forgotten to create from the Creator's light. Oh yes, you might have said that, oh, I believe in God, and you might have thought that you were a God-loving person. But when push came to shove, you looked out for yourself first. You had forgotten where you got your light. You had forgotten how you were created. You had forgotten to follow the Holy Spirit. There was still a part of you that was in this game of separation. But eventually you remembered again. You remembered again. And this time you got it right a little bit better. You began to align more and more with your inner light. That's what all of us have done. We began to align more and more with our inner light. And things seem to be getting progressively better until the game of separation played its most powerful card. Until the game of separation played its most powerful card. One that still traps many of us. This is vitally important. Here is the final card of the game of separation. It has two parts. The first part is quite positive. The second one can be quite devastating. First, the positive part. As you are more and more realigning, as you are more and more raising your light, you are finding yourself to be very understanding and very forgiving of others. You're very understanding and you are very forgiving of others. This was not always the case. Perhaps in the past, when someone said something or did something to you that you perceived was hurtful, you felt hurt and probably responded accordingly. But now, in your realignment, you have been able to understand that that hurtful comment or that hurtful action really had nothing to do about you. It was really simply about the other person that was stuck at that moment in their lives. You've come to understand this, just as the times you've been stuck in your life. But now, and rightfully so, you are able to understand and forgive others without judgment in a very loving, inclusive way. You've grown in being able to understand and forgive others. But this positive movement of understanding and forgiving others now allows the game of separation to play its highest card. Please listen. The highest card in the game of separation is that although you are able to forgive others, you cannot forgive yourself. At this moment, the game of separation plays its most insidious card. It would not allow you to forgive yourself. It makes you look at your past life with all of these self-centered, me first, deceitful things you might have done. And then it brings its two biggest energies forward. They are not fear and doubt. The two biggest energies that the game of separation brings forward are the lower energies of guilt and shame. Guilt and shame. You begin to get trapped again in guilt and shame. You worry about all of the negative things that you have done in the past. And even though you can forgive others, even though you realize that who you are now is not who you were then, you often declare yourself guilty for your past. And then the shame comes in one of these forms. I feel ashamed that I hurt certain people that I thought I loved. I feel ashamed that I was often petty, proud, and controlling. I feel ashamed that I was often unworthy, unloved, felt crappy. You were winning the game of separation in these feelings. I feel ashamed that I thought that I was better than others. I feel ashamed that I was not more compassionate at times. I feel ashamed that I thought about committing suicide. You were winning the game of separation. I feel ashamed that I thought that riches would make me happy. I feel ashamed that I thought I was owning my body. I feel ashamed I offended God and thought that I would be judged by him. You were winning the game of separation in all of these feelings. You were winning the game. I feel ashamed that I was inconsiderate of others. I feel ashamed that I was out of control. How can I ever forgive myself? Congratulations. You won the game. You had the ultimate experience of separation. You felt separated from yourself. The goal was not to forgive yourself. The goal was to experience separation. The goal was not to forgive yourself. The goal was to experience separation. If you could forgive yourself, where would the separation be? This is a very profound thought. If you're able to understand this, you will clear up so much of your past. And please, please, don't say you're going to do better the next time, in your next lifetime. Don't you see, it would just be repeating the game. I'm going to do better. You can't do any better. You've already experienced separation. You have had that experience. You have had a first-class human experience of separation. No more separation. You chose to become who you were not, a separated human, so that you could better understand who you are, an aligned soul who is free to create your own reality. And you did in the game of separation. You've had the experience. And now you are realigning, understanding that you are now the extension of your creator, who is also a free creating energy, who has made you in its beautiful likeness and image. In conclusion, you might be saying, now what? Two things. First, reflect. Take time to mull over this teaching on how you freely chose the state of separation. Realize the experience for what it was. It was an experience of forgetting who you are. Don't try to forgive yourself. Try to understand the experience. There is no hook to wiggle off of. And please don't say, I should have known better. You know what shoulding does. You haven't done anything wrong. Understand the experience. Congratulations. You won the game of separation. Now there is no need to play the game again. The second point, going forward in alignment. That will be the topic of next week's teaching. This is a very profound teaching that has the ability to clear up so much. Congratulations. You've had the experience of separation. Let me now take you into meditation, and what a joy it is to do so. Let's begin as we normally do, by again simply focusing on the breath. Just breathing in and breathing out, getting back to that wonderful, subtle life force that comes into you and moves out of you. And allow the breath just to do what it does. Let it settle your body, reduce your mental chatter, and bring your soul to the fore. Please begin. And would you just say to yourself, here I am. Here I am again. But would you notice how the load has been lifted? Notice how the load of the past has been lifted. We have all played the game of separation. Now, honestly, are you not glad that it is over? Over the past several months, the past several years, while we have grown in the awareness, there was always that past. It was embarrassing. Fear and doubt for certain things, but compared to guilt and shame, they didn't even come close. Congratulations. You won the game of separation. You won. The load is gone. The baggage does not need to be reclaimed. Now, would you place your hand over the top of your sternum where we experience that wonderful light within ourselves, our soul light? And would you just notice how good you feel? You have reclaimed the light. Congratulations. You've started a new game. Feel the love. Just feel the love that's always been you. It has not left you. You are just giving it the intention that it truly deserves. Fear and doubt, guilt and shame, they are no match for light and love. Congratulations.
Deep within, peace resides, faith abounds, and love abides. The light shines bright to illumine love without, love within. I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee. I honor thee. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor thee. When you are where you need to be, within that space, I honor thee. Seen through eyes of illusion, seen through spirit, I honor thee, I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee. I honor thee. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor
Today's teaching is very profound. In the next couple of days, mull it over. digest it, see where it might apply. We can discuss it in our groups. In the meantime, let's proceed in light and love. The new game. Congratulations. We're going to win this one as well. Namaste.